Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another awareness session of Reconstructing Minds. My name is Shantario. Um, Today, I got another interesting awareness session. Today, we're going to be dealing with MLK Day, right? But we're going to be dealing with it from the perspective of the organization and our history, how our past plays a pivotal role in our future through the dynamics of educational, economical, political, and social development. Okay, I'm going to begin reading on page 14 in the blueprint, give you a history on our righteous endeavors in the civil rights movement. It says, we marched with Jesse Jackson to force the hiring of black contractors to help build Circle Campus. We made up 80% of the participants in that march. Now, this next sentence is very critical. It says, we marched nonviolently with Dr. Martin Luther King in Marquette Park during the peak of the civil rights movement. We were fast becoming known as a potential powerful grassroots organization that would carry the fight against racism, segregation, inequality, and unemployment right up to the Civil Hall steps, as well as throughout the voting booths of the city of Chicago. Right. So when I think about the organization, I think about our history. It's always important that we know what we are a part of, what we believe in, and what we stand against. Here it is. Back then, during the time of the originals of the disciples and the gangsters, um, it was even critical that these four dynamics played a role in what they were doing. Um, like I said, two of the great civil rights leaders, Reverend Jesse Jackson and Dr. Martin Luther King himself, to be able to march nonviolently. I believe that philosophy came from um, a brother by the name of Mahatma Gandhi before the time of Dr. Martin Luther King, where he believed in a nonviolent approach as well. So when we think about today, let us not forget our history um, and how it played a role in where we are today, especially in dealing with our four initiatives, which is educational, economical, political, and social development. Okay, I want to read you something else. This is coming on page 84, second paragraph. It says, in our quest for proper knowledge for our purpose, a low level of initiatives is indicative of our being vulnerable to the contribution of this condition. We must check out everything that is characteristic of our organization and examine it for health or disease. So, in other words, death or life. It says, we can no longer afford to be indifferent in education, economics, politics, and social development. Knowledge in the areas of life make the difference between poverty and prosperity. That's what the civil rights movement was geared towards, bringing black and brown people out of poverty. Um, and Dr. Martin Luther King was very uh, critical in that movement. It says, and for those of us from the 1960s who are still awaiting the right moment when the revolution, quote unquote, will arise to destroy the present system, forget it, because in the meanwhile, the generation and the one behind it is devoured in family lots. So that's imperative to know. Um, as we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, Junior's birthday, let us be mindful of our past as well in the lives of this great civil rights leader. Um, I want to read you something else. This is from page 94, and dealing with the principle of wisdom. It says, wisdom acquired to using the proper knowledge of our purpose wisely becomes both the instrument and the guide for our present and future actions. The union of wisdom with our new concept is a direct call for us to dedicate our to the truths and principles in the highest sense possible. If we are to see the new concept become a new reality, every member will be willing to exercise wisdom in all their endeavors. It is a call for us to probably give up the duration of our lives to the realization of the new concept. It is a call for us to develop an attitude overviewing the entire history of our condition because there is no greater teacher than our past. So, with me saying that, I want everybody to know that, you know, it is very critical that we understand the times that we're living in, and especially dealing with our past and dealing with these some of these great civil rights leaders, especially Dr. Martin Luther King. Our past is our greatest teacher, uh, even from a spiritual aspect. And in Christianity, the Bible says, in I believe in the book of Romans, chapter 15, it begins. It says, "The things that were written aforehand was written for our learning." Um, it says, "Wisdom suggests that we guide our lives not only by futuristic implication of the leadership's visions, but also from the past mistakes of the organizations such as Two Push, Black Panthers, etc. They happen to exist before us. More importantly, we cannot afford to blindly accept cash, favor, support from the powers that be. The wisdom, we can clearly see the ulterior motives of such support." Okay. By me uh, understanding this dynamic, I want everybody to understand that once we were involved in politics, that turned up the heat on the organization, uh, especially dealing with our government, politics, policing. Uh, it is very critical that we understand where we come from and how important that there's more to us than what meets the eye, especially in dealing with society, because the negative narrative is continuing to be painted in media, social media, and things of that nature. Um, my sincere love and respect to Dr. Martin Luther King's family. May he rest peacefully. I hope this awareness session helps somebody to understand the true essence of where we come from and how we are to move forward in all righteous endeavors, and especially in dealing with uh, our history, the civil rights movement. Love to you all.